I said, God, I know you've never done this in the history of time, but for me, would you create a time machine so I can just go back and redo some of the things? And what happened is I just got so stuck in wanting to go back. And like, I just remember crying, and I was like, what have you done in 16 years? You've literally sat on the sidelines hoping and wishing. And time has literally kept moving. It did not wait for you. It did not stop for you, and it did not go back for you. Wherever you are, start the work there. It's not too late. Like, the promises that are in your life that were spoken over you, that has been given to you, it hasn't expired. It doesn't have an expiration date. And God is so capable. Like, this is the scripture that got me through 2023, was the reminder that God is able to take 5 to 10 years, whatever, and make it happen in 1 year. And I was like, man, if God can do that, then it's not too late. Till you take your very last breath, it's not too late. So don't beat yourself up and say, like, it's too late for me. Like, I'm already 65. I'm right around the corner for retirement. It's not too late.
Yeah.
It's not. God can still do something so great in you. You have no idea what you're doing for the generations that are coming after you and what kind of foundation you're laying. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I am done.
Beautifully said, sweetheart. And because it's not too late, we can move into the authenticity piece. If you choose to take ownership over your life right now, authenticity is simply just being connected to yourself. Essentially, it's I'm gonna read this right off here. It's knowing that what we feel and knowing how to act on it, knowing how to trust your gut feelings and being connected to your body and your inner person. We said this already before, but I'll just jump to this piece. It says, we will always sacrifice authenticity in order to receive attachment. In our world, we find ourselves constantly giving up our authenticity to feel attachment. So soon enough, we don't know who we really are and don't know how we got there. So going back to your point, it's not too late. You're so right. The quicker we can identify and go, how did I get to where I'm at?
Right.
I think one of my favorite questions I heard a couple of years ago asked by a counselor is, who were you before someone else told you that you were?
Yeah.
And it's like, go back to that place. Trauma affects attachment in a deep way. Trauma could be a physical or emotional abusive parent. It could be a family member. It could be a friend. However, keep this in mind. This is a huge take right here. Trauma is not what happens to you. Trauma is what happens inside you. Meaning, it's not so much the event that took place is what makes it traumatic. It's your interpretation of the event. This is why 5 or 10 people can be a part of the exact same incident, whether it's a car wreck or a thief. I remember we read a book a couple of years back called The First 48 Hours, and it's talking about how do we deal with our trauma. And one of the things that the stories I was in it was this thief came in and brought a knife to this girl and literally had her
and broke into an apartment.
Broke into her apartment, had her in a chokehold, like knife to her throat, and her roommate's watching. And they said they walked out just fine. It was their roommate though
that was more traumatized.
Correct. Not the person who was caught up in the chokehold. She was fine. So here's the point: as you're looking to do the hard work, as you said, counseling, therapy, groups, all of that, as you're doing that, what you're doing is you're not going back. The hard work is not going back to change the event, because you can't. It's impossible.
Oh, how we wish though.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But that's part of the problem too. We wish, hope, shoulda, coulda, woulda so much, instead of paying attention, instead of just owning you cannot change it. No matter what you do, no matter how much you pray it, there's nothing you can do to change it. So instead of changing it, what if we did the hard work to change the reinterpretation?
Yeah, and I think it's also sitting with someone and accepting that, because that for me was the hardest part.
Which requires what though? Doing it with safe people.
Right. And also investing in yourself. You know, I don't want people to keep saying, new year, new me, the best year yet, you know. I truly want 2024 to be the best year for you. I really do, but that means you have to invest in yourself. It like there is free investments you can do, and then there's paid investments you can do. Whatever it takes, just take the next step into investing in yourself. You are worth it. Like, you are absolutely worth it. Why would you not do it? So instead of naming and claiming in 2024, oh my gosh, best year yet, and then by February, this year sucks. Let's not do that this year. Let's take accountability for ourselves and say, I have done what it takes to take one step forward. And it is going to be hard work, and it's going to start with accepting the things you can change. That took me a really long time, because for me, I was like, if only a time machine existed. I literally have prayed and said, God, I know you've never done this in the history of time, but for me, would you create a time machine so I can just go back and redo some of the things? And what happened is I just got so stuck in wanting to go back that I was just stagnant in my present. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't making any moves. And next thing I know, I remember one time I was sitting there watching a video, and it hit me like a ton of bricks that video came out like 16 years ago. And like, I just remember crying, and I was like, what have you done in 16 years? You've literally sat on the sidelines hoping and wishing, and time has literally kept moving. It did not wait for you. It did not stop for you, and it did not go back for you. And you spend so much time hoping and wishing for a time machine to go back into, to rewrite your wrongs, to rewrite some parts of your story. And it didn't happen. Like, so you can spend another 16 years doing that, or work with someone, invest in yourself, and do something about this.
Yeah.
Make a step forward, even if it's the smallest step, you know? Like, Martin Luther King said, if you can't fly there, run there. If you can't run there, walk there. If you can't walk there, crawl there, you know? Like, I'm totally butchering it.
Spot on.
Yeah. And he was just like, but whatever you do, don't
stop moving.
don't stop. Like,
Right.
don't not move.
Yeah.
You know, for whatever your goal is. I mean, there are days I had to crawl to my goal, you know, and that's okay. It's the fact that I did it. So I just want to challenge you guys. Don't let this be another year where you're waiting for life to happen. Don't let it happen to you. Be part of it. Be an active part of your life. Take whatever that next step is. So if that's getting a counselor, getting a coach, getting career advice, leaving a job that you're not happy at, of course, work around the, you know, like, hey, I can afford to step away from my job, you know, like, work through all of that. But don't spend another year
Spend another day, man.
right, in hoping and wishing land. Like, take the next bus out of that bus station and go to a whole different place.
You know, as you were talking, the question that came to mind is, as I recognize, it's very hard to face that, you know, to face and confront our past, to face and confront our trauma. I recognize that. As hard as it is, though, let me ask you, isn't it harder to put it off years down the line, knowing you could have made some change and look back? That you could have made some change years ago. How did we
Absolutely. Even
know?
with when I've started, I still like, dang it, I should have started earlier.
Well, so this is
You
what
know?
I've learned to do for me. When I don't want to do something hard, I've
It's the
learned
first thing you do.
Correct. I've learned a trick, and it actually tricks my brain.
Yeah.
Because I go, this is going to be hard. Like, let's just say it'll be 80, 85. Like, it'll feel like 100% sometimes in my mind.
Yeah.
But then I go, Mark, what happens if I don't do it a year from now? And whatever, how difficult of a feeling it feels, that feeling is amplified.
Yeah.
And the thought of that is more scary and overwhelming than the initial of not wanting to do it. And that forces me to do something. Henry Cloud said this: people change when the pain of staying the same is worse than changing.
Right.
And it just, man, I want to do a better job on the front end of that. I don't want to wait till it gets there. But for some people, that's what it takes. And if that's where we're at, that's fine. But then let's do something about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you can check out some of our clips right here. If you want to see the entire video, you can check out the video right here. Or you don't have to do any of that. And I'm just thankful that you decided to bless us with your time and that you dropped into the channel. Otherwise, take care. Have a wonderful day. Peace out.